Hello, this is a quick guide to the best Warlock in the game right now, the Quest Handlock. I made this deck 2 days ago and I instantly hit rank 2 legend with it. It's pretty good. Since then it has over 6,000 games played with an almost 60% win rate on Diamond through Legend, which is, yeah, just strictly the best as you can see here. But why is it that good? It's kind of an all-rounder deck and almost all your matchups are green, even though people just started playing this deck. So usually all the percentages are a bit lower than normal. Only Questmage is a very bad matchup, but for losing to Questmage, you beat Questrock very hard, you beat the Zulocks very hard, you beat the Quest Shamans and the Elemental Shamans insanely hard, you beat Quest Lifesteal Demon Hunter very hard, so also Shadow Priest and Handbuff Paladin and Face Hunter are still coin flip, which usually are a bad matchup for the other Warlocks. But with this deck, you have enough healing and enough reactive tool with the Sovereigns to be there in time. But why is the deck that good? What makes it the best Warlock? So we're going through all the cards right now so you understand and learn the deck. This deck is mainly about cheating out big minions for very few mana. So the Flash Giants and the Gold Giants, you can just often play them on turn 4. Same goes for Anetheron. And then you can just reset them and you're very happy. And your opponent can't deal with the consecutive tempo drops. Like the first Flash Giant, sure, the first Anetheron, sure. But then you erase that and Anetheron still costs 1 if it comes back. Flash Giants get even cheaper. Gold Giant Gnodes are also still 1 mana if they come back, because your hand doesn't get more empty if you play wasted, right? It gets more full. Why is the quest in here? The quest is in here mainly because you probably fulfill the first quest line and the second one. So it heals you for 6 and it deals 6 damage, while also making the giant a bit cheaper. It's just a good card for 1 mana that you always have in your starting hand. It's not about completing it, it's just good to have it in this deck. Then Mulliganguide is just a decent tool to cycle through your deck, because you also want to activate Bristleback and the Scavenger, and it still gives you a tool to remove Paladin Divine Shields, which is pretty good. Touch of the Nithrism is just a very good survival tool, because it clears very annoying 3/2 minions, it still heals you for a lot, and together with Thalnos and Tamsin, you might just clear a whole board with Mulliganguide and Touch of the Nithrism. Tour Guide is one of the best cards in this deck. It has everything you need. You want to draw cards, you want to use your hero power, you want to take damage. It does all of that for you for 1 mana. And you can reset it. So it's an insanely powerful card. Then Drain Soul is just another tool to survive. It makes the giant cheaper, it clears a minion, it heals you, perfect. The Shadow Blast, similar to the Drain Soul, it doesn't heal you, but it makes your quest going a bit further, and it clears bigger minions. So sometimes there's like a 6/6 minion and you can just clear that for 2 mana and get a good tempo swing in. Then we have Backfire. Backfire is also one of the best cards in this deck, because you want to draw cards, you want to take damage, you want a full hand, right? So you pay 3 mana, you draw 3 cards, and often your hand is full. You can play an Ethereum for 1, or at least a Gold Giant, and the Giant gets cheaper, so that's pretty good. Then we have the Bristleback. The Bristleback is kind of interesting in this deck. It only works kinda because we're playing Sorrent, which is a Flame Strike but for 4 mana. So whenever you completely lose the board, you can just Sorrent and everything is gonna be fine again. And after that, it's not gonna be fine for your opponent, because then you can just Bristleback, or you can play some Scavengers and your opponent is gonna lose on tempo. They're not gonna come back from this. And even if they might somehow survive the first wave of Bristlebacks, Scavengers, Giants, and Ethereons, you can still just reset them. Tamsin is just there, so you sometimes can make more use of your removal tools. Sometimes you need these turns. The goal of the deck is to survive as long as possible until you have the big minions for cheap prices. So you get them out, and once they stick, you can OTK them with Battlemaster. Let's say 2 Giants stick, which is 2 times 8. Then they also get Wind Fury, which is 2 times 8 again. So 16 plus 16 is 32. So it's a very simple OTK. which is also a reason why this deck is so good. Because in the other Warlock deck, you might need to OTK and play like 20 cards in a turn. Here you just play 2 giants, you hope they're sick, you kill them. Pretty simple, pretty good. Let's have a look at the Mulliganguide. So Touch of Thinithism has the highest Mulligan win rate card, even though I wouldn't say that it's the best card to keep. It's just very high on here because it's insane against aggro. Whenever you face Hunter, Shaman, whatever, you keep this card. This card is insane. It kills a minion and heals you for 4 and only for 4 mana. Whenever you face an aggro deck, just keep it. Backfire should be a keep in every matchup. It's an insane card, it helps you with everything. Sorrent is insane against aggro, not so much against the combo decks, but it completely destroys the aggro decks. It gets you closer to Bristleback and the Scavenger, and it just makes everything work. And Ethereum is very easy to get down to 1 mana, because your hero power draws your cards. Your cards also draw your cards. So this guy is often just played on turn 4 and can then be raised at, so it is always a keep. Tour Guide is not the highest up on here, like it's almost at the average win rate in the Mulligan, but I would still say you always keep it, because it helps you getting the quest further, drawing more cards. Usually cards that draw you other cards are not that high on here, but they're still good, so I would always keep the Tour Guide. Yeah, the Giants are a bit below the average win rate actually, but against slow decks they're insane. So whenever you face like another Warlock or I don't know, any deck that doesn't kill you on turn 5, you keep the Giants. Every other card down here, you never keep them. Up from drain, so you never keep any of these cards, okay? Don't keep them and you're gonna win more games. I don't have all the cards, what do I do? Let's say you're missing the legendaries, like Ethereum, Tamsin, Talnos, the Crest. What is really craftworthy and what is not that needed? So Ethereum, as you can see here, it has one of the highest Mulligan win rates and drawn win rates, so it's a pretty good card. I would always recommend crafting Ethereum, it's a very good card. However, Tamsin, Rome is not such a great card. It's okay, it has 58% in the Mulligan and later on it has an average drawn win rate. But it's not that important for the deck. Like, you're often not happy having her in your starting hand, and later she's okay. But you can take her out, for example, for like Mankrik if you feel like that. Talnos is also not needed. Most of you probably have him anyways, but it's just a very decent card. It draws you a card, it has some spell damage, it's just decent, but it's not necessary for the deck. The other cards like Giant is needed, Touch is needed, Sorrent is needed, Drain Soul is needed, Backfire is needed, Tour Guide is needed, Raise Set is needed, Coil is needed. Gold Shire nodes are cool, but you could play Cult Neophytes instead of them. This is one of the flex spots, but I'd recommend playing them. The Scavenger doesn't have an amazing Mulligan win rate and a lower drawn win rate, but it's still a threat you need in the late game. Because sometimes your Sorrent burns one of your other giants, and then you're just stuck with some removal crap and you can't really win on the board. So I would also recommend crafting the Scavengers that you get enough board pressure on at some point to make use of your better masters. The Bristlebacks are very good, and the better masters are very cheap and very good. Demon Seed, very good card for this deck. It just always allows you to play a giant on 4 if you draw Giant and Tour Guide. You tap every turn and then you have a giant on 4 thanks to the quest. So that is a very strong thing to do. However, the Shadow Blasts, they are cheap, they're good removal, but if you don't like them, it's fine to cut them. Like, you can play the Neophytes as I said earlier, you can play one Mankrik as I said, and any other card too, but this is just how I will play it right now. Thanks for watching. In the comments I'm gonna put a link that gets you to a lot of gameplay of the deck, so if you want to see how the deck looks like in action, you can just click there and you get there. And if you got any more questions, you could either join the Discord or you just type it in the comments, whatever you're wondering.